Hello, I'm Karen Stanley from Stanley & Partners Letting Agents. Welcome to part 4 of our review of the government's white paper, A Fairer Private Renting Sector. Today we're going to, first of all, have a look at the government's thoughts on blanket bans and making them illegal. The blanket ban of refusing to rent to tenants on benefits, i.e. no housing benefits, or have children with, will be specifically illegal. This isn't new, as these characteristics are already seen as discrimination due to the Equality Act. This proposal will merely reinforce the case law already decided. Solid financial reasons to let a tenant will continue to be a strong metric in a tenant passing referencing or not. Tenants' lifetime deposits have not been included in the white paper, but with a reference to continued review of the market-led solutions. Through government research, it was found not to be quite as easy as they first thought to create a lifetime deposit to be passported from one property to the next due to the financial industry involvement with either loans or insurances, and it appears to be lower on the government's priority list. Next, we're going to have a look at tenants to be allowed pets. I'm sure this has been huge in the media. The government wished to introduce a law that says landlords are not to unreasonably withhold consent to permit a pet in the property. The Tenant Fees Act 2019 is to be amended to allow landlords to request tenants to require pet insurance so that any property damage is covered. They also encourage landlords to allow reasonable requests for tenants to redecorate, hang pictures or change appliances, provided they return the property to its original state when they leave. Now, this isn't anything new. A blanket ban on tenants having pets is already not permitted in law. A blanket ban on tenants having pets is already not permitted law. A no pets policy is considered to be an unfair contract term under the Unfair Contract Terms Act since 1977. Our tenancy agreements already state that pets will be considered if tenants request permission. The landlord's consent is not to be unreasonably withheld, which is all that this is requiring. The pet has to be proportionate to the type of accommodation. For example, a Dalmatian dog in a one-bedroom flat would not be suitable, but perhaps a goldfish would. Since the Tenant Fee Act, landlords have been charging higher rents when pets have been included on the tenancy agreement to cover additional fair wear and tear, and we see this continuing. Tenants in flats will still not be able to keep pets according to their head lease for the block of flats, and this will be considered a reasonable excuse. We will wait to see how landlords will benefit from being able to request their tenants to take out pet insurance, or whether they will be able to charge the tenant for taking out pet insurance as part of the rent guarantee or legal expenses insurance. The amendment to the Tenants Fee Act will allow them to request the tenants do so and perhaps charge them to do so. They may request a tenant to show evidence of taking out the pet insurance policy, or, which we would feel better for all parties, that the letting agent administers a pet insurance product, paid annually perhaps for the landlord's benefit, and with clauses in the tenancy agreement to allow for deduction from the deposit if it's not paid. We've already seen tenant lobby groups unhappy about the suggestion that tenants should pay for the insurance. The practicalities of this introduction have yet to be thought through by the government, so let's watch this space. What we do know from the government's report in the English Private Landlord Survey 2021 that tenants are getting older. 45 to 55-year-olds increased by 5% in the last 10 years, and older tenants, perhaps with families, tend to want pets. Families with pets and children need long-term stable homes, making them long-term tenants. 21% of tenants in recent reports stated that having a pet was their top priority. Allowing tenants to keep a pet can ensure a longer-term tenant, which means a stable income for landlords. A well-constructed pet clause inserted into the tenancy agreement is a must. Landlords can already request a reference from the pet from their vet, or perhaps previous landlord, for example, and ensure that regular inspections of the property are undertaken to ensure that there are no breaches of the tenancy, otherwise action could be taken for possession. For today, we'll also be looking at single government-approved ombudsman for private landlords. The government propose for all tenants to have redress regardless of whether their landlords use an agent. This will ensure that all tenants have access to redress services in any given situation, and that landlords remain accountable for their own conduct and legal responsibilities. Making membership of an ombudsman scheme mandatory for all landlords who use managing agents will mitigate the situation where a good agent is trying to remedy a complaint but is reliant on a landlord who is refusing to engage. The ombudsman's powers will be